I can do this during the show.
I was just waiting for you, and then I'll hit go. Oh, whoops! Sorry, we're already gone. We've already gone. We're gone live, Theo. So
I wasn't ready.
Don't say anything that you're not supposed to say.
Some people's kids, man. I was not ready. Some people's freaking kids.
You've been playing around with your cameras, so I don't know.
I have. Yeah, so I have. This is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is a new camera. And then I switched over to, see, it's black now. I switched over to the Razer Kaio Pro, which is another new camera that has been locking up during streaming. And then just for kicks, just for combinations, comparison's sake, this is the FaceTime camera that is built into the laptop, and that's my bathroom. So FaceTime or Pocket 3 or Razer. They're all
Razer
just
Pro,
slightly different.
Razer Pro,
Razer Kaio Pro.
Well, I put a poll up in the live chat, so they can decide which camera looks better for you, and then you can use that one for the rest of the stream. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah. So this is the Razer, and you can see the lines. See how it's hunting on autofocus?
It is, yeah.
Let's switch to the DJI.
I like the DJI, but that's just me.
It's very warm.
It is very warm.
That's good. The autofocus isn't hunting like crazy. I like that.
The thing is, all of the non-Mac users won't vote for the FaceTime camera.
That's the FaceTime. It's a little bit of white balance issue, but that's okay. I mean, I'm not that pasty. The autofocus is good. So let's do DJI for a while, and we'll see how well that works.
All right. Anyway, well, there's a poll up. Show. So yeah, well, that's it. There's a poll up. So just we'll have a look and see what one looks the best. Hello,
they all
everyone.
Do fireworks. These are lasers. These are freaking lasers.
Not this again. What about the Love Heart one?
Oh, they all do that. That's an operating system thing.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
This is a Mac OS thing. Yeah, I can do like thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh,
and I forget what
all sorts of cool hand gestures. We want to welcome other Andy to becoming a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Andy, for your support. Appreciate that. There's a couple of other chats. Hello, everyone who's joining in. Kim's off to do POTA. This was earlier on. Left this message. 17 meters, K4544 and K4453. So,
hey, Kim,
if you're hunting those parks, then Kim's going to be in those. And Ben's finally here. He's here for a live no work. They've got a cyclone preparation going on up there. I heard on the radio this morning that it sounds like it's going to be a big one. Yeah, it just starts raining where you are too. So hopefully that's not too bad, Ben. And he's going to be dropping the antennas later on to make sure that you get through that. But yeah, stay safe.
While we're doing that, you have a topic. Your topic is Q&A. So if you have a question, put the word question in front of your question in the chat, and then I will start, and then, we can talk about it.
Yep. Like any question, value. It can be radio related, it can be camera related, it can be Mac OS, Windows, it can be talk about Steve's bathroom, it could be anything. So, yep. So, but while you put your questions in, and this is something that I wanted to point out, I don't think he's in the chat. I haven't seen him pop up yet. That is it. So this is from Quirky QRP James KH2. I'm always hold on. I need to get his call sign correct because I'm sure I got it wrong last time. Apologies, James. Oh, I can't log into Twitter either. Quirky. Let's just share the
there
page.
He is. KH2SR.
Oh, he's there. Hello. So I want to share this because this has arrived. Quirky QRP ham radio on Etsy. James has lots of awesome sort of, as the name implies, quirky products that you probably wouldn't see anywhere else. Ham radio products, shirts. The band plan mat, you've got one of those, don't you? They're really nice.
Yes.
And also, here we go. This is what I was looking for. These retro vintage clocks. And I was talking to James and he says, hey, do you want one of these clocks? Do you want to check one out? And I said, yes, because this is the one that caught my eye. This is an oceanic one, which has all of the, you can see all the AM radio stations, shortwave, radio stations. Now, some of them, I'm not sure if all of them are still operational. I know some of them are. Here's all the seven ones. These are located where I am. So 7LA, that's no longer on shortwave. That's on FM. 7HT.
Australian too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because let me move that oceanic. So
I thought the Oceanic was like a name of a boat or something, or a radio manufacturer.
Well, I was going to say it's sort of our shortwave area, but yeah,
it is.
And like got all the 7ZR, I think, still running. 7HT. I don't know about any of the others. 7ZL, there's one. So
turn that around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
you just want to make sure it's battery operated, did you?
No. So what happens is there are. Let's switch this back to like both of us. There are cameras. There are clocks that are like a piece of paper that someone has printed out on their inkjet printer and put inside of a a cheap like $5 clock. That is not what this is. This is like serious. I don't know what the material is. Tell us how he's got this printed on here.
Is it Perspex?
Perspex or acrylic or something. It's like a real piece of plastic, and then the image is actually on the plastic on the back side. It's not and we'll talk about the black hands in a second. It's not just like you didn't make this in your basement and like think it's amazing. And this is a quality piece of kit right here. So James is saying in the chat that these now have white hands, and he's absolutely correct, because black hands on a black clock face are really hard to read, and James is awesome. He has taken into account that that's a thing, and he's now made these white hands on a black clock face so you can see it. And the numbers on the background are like, ooh, this is pretty. Like there's no reading to it. It's just a regular 12-hour analog clock. But what I'm trying to is a quality to this. When you see this in your hands, you're gonna be like, whoa, this is not the cheap little piece of paper that somebody printed on their inkjet and sold for $15. This is nice.
Yeah, I've had some similar ones which I've seen at like what do you call them? Market stalls, sorry, and they're just being paper printed on. But this is really quality stuff. And let me just go back to the sharing of the share screen here. So yeah, it's not just so as James says, he's changed the clock the handles so that they're more visible with the white paint. But that's not the only one that you can get. You can get some of these other ones too. This one here just sort of stood out to me because it had all of the Australian stations on it, which was cool. But you can get some other ones there. So check out. I'll put a link into the chat for QRP. I think this is the link here. So check that out. And not only the clocks, but I think you've got one too. Shirts. So this one, these have come from Car, haven't they? Where someone said about bro, probably sounds like an ape thing.
No, it's on the Nuggets episode where we throw out new ideas for James.
So bro, do you even DX is this one? So, but there's a whole pile of different shirts. Especially this one. This one's a good one. Bro, are your emissions even spurious? This is for all of the Baofeng users out
there. Every single one. So Stuart says all the weird names on old radio dials must have been a big driver of interest in radio back in the day. They were for me, and that's true. Like, what does QLA mean? I think it's a QLA, or does it say QLD? It says QLD, Queensland. Yep. But you'd be able to tune your radio to Queensland.
Yeah. So New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, South Australia, Tasmania, and Victoria. So
Tasmania. Come to Tasmania.
There you go. So I just wanted to point that out because that just arrived the other day from James, and as you said, he's very, very good with all of his products. And if you look in the store, you'll see lots of sales, lots of ratings, which is good. So thank you very much, James. Wanted to point that out. So check out QRP, Quirky QRP. Now, we've got a whole pile of questions coming in.
I got them all started for you.
Yeah, there's also some other comments too that I wanted to start. Those shirts there are some interesting ones on there, but that's great. I love it. No, I'm sure I've got some white paint. I'll sort it out. Okay, so question from John. I live in a trailer park with very limited space. What would you recommend for an HF antenna? You were going to start, Steve, weren't you? You said you were going to start.
Sure. What would I recommend for an antenna? I would recommend a vertical with a couple of counterpoises, because I actually happen to know a thing or two about trailer parks, because I am a full-time RVer and I stay in even more compact trailer parks than most of your typical trailer parks are. And so what I will do is I will stick out a 17-foot whip, and I will put out 4 10-meter radials. And there's my antenna, and that gets me on any band 20 meters and above with a tuner. Or I could go out and I could actually manually tune the whip by shrinking it down farther and farther and farther. That's a lot more difficult. I'm lazy. I just push the tune button on the radio, and that gets me into spec. But there are a lot of different antennas that you can use on a short-term basis, like an end-fed half wave, or even an inverted V dipole, depending on how much feet you have. So what is it? What is a 40-meter dipole? 65 feet?
You're asking an Australian that works in metric, but yeah, sure. That sounds about right.
Okay. So what is it in metric? Because I'm sure John's an Australian also.
40-meter dipole, half wave dipole is 20 meters. Yeah, 20 meters, so 10 meters
metric
on each
math
side,
is so much
meters.
easier.
Don't math on stream. You always say that. Don't do that.
Exactly, because I'm not good at math. I went to Catholic school. I'm horrible at math. I have flashbacks anytime an old lady tries to hand me a ruler. Like, no.
But yeah, vertical antenna is probably the best for limited space. I can speak to limited space, not trailer parks, but I can speak to limited space. So I've got the DX Commander all-band vertical antenna, which allows me to get on every HF band. 80 meters is set up as an inverted L, which it's not set up all the time, so I kind of just set that up when I need it. 160 meters is a little bit more difficult because it requires a little bit of a larger antenna, but every other HF band it works. Sorry?
Did you want to share that?
Yeah. Yep. So this is DX Commander. These are the classic ones. So you can get these from Callum. He ships worldwide. You can also get just the 40 to 2 meter, and this is the thing too. He says 40 to 2 meters because this will tune up like on heaps of bands. Yeah,
it will.
So
it will definitely work 2 meters.
So you can use it on not just HF as well.
One of the things that you will be aware of, Hayden, is the ground radial setup. Don't let the fact that he recommends like 16 ground radials or 32 ground radials scare you away from the antenna. Put down 4 if that's all the room you have. Put down 4 in one direction if that's all the room you have, and get on the air and have fun. But if you have the room to put down an amazing amount of radials, it will be even that much more amazing than if you only put down 4.
And it's it doesn't take too long to set them up and put them down, especially if you put it on, say, the back lawn and you need to mow the grass. When I mow the back lawn, all I do is I just take the radials off, coil them up, put them off to one side. It takes me like 2 minutes. I lower the antenna down, mow the grass around it, put it back up, and it's probably back up within 5 minutes. It doesn't take very long. So that's what I use at home. But as Tio said, you can also use a wire antenna end-fed if you've got a little bit more space, etc. What are you doing to your camera?
I don't think it's bright enough. So
what, the camera or?
It just seems washed out. Yeah, me. I'm hasty.
So what's the camera you're on right now? You're on the Osmo 3?
I'm on the Osmo 3, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which is a brand new camera that they just released in November of this year.
Okay, so 62% who have voted have said that the Osmo Pocket 3 is better than the Razer Pro, which is 25%, and as predicted, the FaceTime camera is at 12%. So,
yeah, so this is actually really weird. It will do. Let me see if I can do it. Nope, that's panning. Obviously, it's a gimbal camera, so we'll do that. And then this is zoom. Like you can.
Whoa.
You just get a little weird with the amount of detail this camera provides. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Yeah, and that is very detailed, and I'm not quite sure if we need that level of detail.
And that's back to normal zoom.
So James also says about a loop antenna. I can't share it because it was shared privately by a member of my club on his social media, but he has a magnetic loop antenna, and he showed the difference between his G5RV and his loop antenna, and it was absolutely amazing, the noise difference. So it was much better for noise.
Next question.
Is that the comment you're laughing at?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's good.
Thanks, Stuart. And you're actually going through like 1.5 negative magnification because of the glasses.
That was a very good impersonation. I like that.
Glasses.
You'd say the glasses. I want to quickly say thank you, David. David AC3HT has become a YouTube member. Thank you, David. We don't have the soundboard connected, so I've got to get that.
The brand section. Don't you have stuff uploaded in the brand section?
The brand section. I don't have anything. I mean, I've got
StreamYard?
No, I mean I've got my intro, but that's probably not going to do anything. I could play. Here we go. We could do this. Oh.
It takes a while to queue up.
Yeah, it does.
There you go.
Thanks, David. Not as good as what we normally have. Anyway.
No.
Okay. What else have we got? Are these in order? I'm assuming these are in time order.
Yeah, top down.
Yeah, they are. So a VE7AJK. Question: favorite computer game of all time? You go first, Steve, and then I'll go.
Civilization.
On
an old-fashioned IBM PC compatible or IBM PC XT with a VGA card, to be specific. I have a retro technology channel where I play with old computers, and there are a lot of really cool old computer games. I watched a guy do a whole series on Space Quest from Sierra Online, and now I want to go play every single Space Quest game ever made.
Do you want to share a link to your?
Sure, I can do that.
I've just been reading some more comments. What happened to the soundboard? 3 weeks, no soundboard. No, I know. It will make a return. So Civilization. This is a hard question for me because there's lots of great games. It probably has to be the one that probably gives the most amount of memories for me is Mario Kart 64, I think, on Nintendo 64. That's my vintage. My vintage is 90s. Lots and lots and lots of hours playing that game, and lots of fun with family and that playing that game. So that's probably it. We should have a Super Mario off one day and just live stream that or something. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
That's my favorite. Yeah,
we do that actually. That's a thing.
That's my favorite. Next one, 45 Auto. How do you bowl a googly? That's radio related. So 45 Auto is referring to the cricket term, which is bowled by a leg spinner, which is a googly. I'm not a leg spinner, so I don't know how you bowl a googly. But basically what a googly is it's a leg spinning ball that turns the other direction. So you spin it the other way. So that's what that is. I played 2 games on the weekend and we drew one and we lost the other. We lost the other very, very close game. So, and there's actually video highlights as well. I've got video highlights. So we have a live stream that runs too. So that's got a couple of my highlights and a couple of my lowlights as well. So so that was fun. Okay, Bob.
Chat to pop up.
The chat.
Yeah, so I can paste in the link to my chat.
Oh, right. What's
there? Let me find it.
You've got it? Okay. Bob, if I leave my HTs in the charging cradle when not using them, will it damage the batteries or is there any other hazard to consider? This is a very good question. So not just popping it in to charge, but this is just leaving it all the time on charge. So what do you think to this one, Tio? Oh, great. And now his internet's dropped out or his computer's dropped out. Or he's being a very... That's a very mean stare. Very, very mean stare. So, Bob... now you're back. You're back.
Yes. I don't know the answer to this question.
No, neither do I. I am going to say that I wouldn't leave them in floating in the charger all the time. Mainly because I just don't like doing that. I mean, I'm sure that they would be fine. It wouldn't damage the radio, it wouldn't damage the batteries. But charge cycles might be a thing. Like I've left my have you left your handheld radios on the shelf for like ages and ages, and they don't really discharge that much, do they? So they're not going to go flat.
So if you have a radio like a Baofeng UV-5R that has a click on and off dial at the top, it will not go flat in storage with it off. If you have a Yaesu FT-5D, Hayden wouldn't know this, it will go flat just sitting on the shelf because it has a soft power on off button. So it's always awake waiting for you to push the power button so it can wake up even farther. So that's how you can tell if they last a little bit longer. I have heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, please help me out in the chat if you do know the answer to this. A charge cycle, as far as like your battery has 2,000 charge cycles, according to the manufacturer's spec, is full discharge, full recharge. But what I've been told, and I have no idea if this is right or wrong, is if you only recharge from like 80% to 100, 80 to 100, 80 to 100, 80 to 100 over and over again, that's not an actual charge cycle. I don't understand that. What do you guys think?
So you wouldn't leave yours switched on all the time? Plugged in, charging all the time?
I do leave mine plugged in and charging all the time. But my MacBook, as an example, that I'm using right now, it has recognized that it is plugged in all the time and only charges to 80% and stops there. So it doesn't do a full charge for some type of battery conditioning.
Digital Analog Ham says it depends which handheld. If it's Chinese, then I'd be a bit more careful. I would be more concerned with probably not so much the battery in the radio, but more the charger itself, because you don't know the quality control that's gone into building. I did the review on the, which one is it? I don't have it here. I've got too many. Where is it? I left it upstairs. The GMRS Baofeng, that one doesn't even come with a charging cradle anymore. It comes with the USB-C to plug directly into the back of the battery. So
is that the UV-5G?
Yes, and I still can't find any way to try and get that working on ham radio because I can't use it here. So, but yeah, interesting question. Let us know what you think in the chat in regards to that. And Anonymous says, yeah, the 5D's died in storage. Just sitting there.
Guy Fawkes.
Not getting charged. So, Tony, overcharging lithium ion batteries is dangerous if they go into thermal runaway. That's the thing, isn't it? You don't know what the charge is doing, whether it's going to stop it or overcharge it. James has got a good suggestion. You could get a timer, so it's not charging 24/7. Maybe it only comes on for like 10 minutes a day or something, just to keep it topped up. That's a good idea.
If only the manufacturers loved us enough to give us good charging standards.
Or just if only the manufacturers loved us enough. That's just the statement right there, isn't it?
Exactly.
So Bill the Cat 2, not Bill. I want to know who Bill the Cat 1 is. But this is Bill the Cat 2. Hayden, I am digging the 10-meter vertical antenna that you put up for the repeater. Been wanting one for the house with the sunspots. Now, Bill was talking about my latest video, which I'm trying to get a screenshot of, but my computer's now running slow. Oh, there we go. That is this antenna here, which is the Serio 827. This is a vertical antenna for 27 megs, 10 meters, and also I've shortened it a little bit more, so it's for 29 megs. But you can also, I was going to originally modify this to 6 meters and shorten it even further, and you have to do a modification. You remove a turn or two off of the coil here in the middle, the matching coil, which you can't quite see. That antenna's been working well since we've had it up for the last few days. I've been doing some coverage checks, and it's pretty sweet. So nice. Go and check that out. So thank you, Bill.
So is he talking about that one, or is he talking about the 10-meter dipole that you built?
So the 10-meter dipole is sitting outside. We were going to use that antenna, but there was a couple of logistical issues with accessing the tower and doing some work on it. So we wanted to get it up and running as soon as possible, and that was the easiest way to do it, to use that vertical rather than the dipole. So, but there is a video on that too. Ben says lots of Nintendo 64 games: GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Mario Party. Yeah, there's like, I don't know about you, but video games today are just not the same. They're just not the same.
No, they're going for like graphics and reality.
They're going for
detail,
perfection. Yeah,
more than they're going for playability. Like a game needs to be fun first.
Yeah, it's going for perfection. I prefer the fun stuff. So, okay. I think Jonathan was talking about the vertical antennas earlier on that we were talking about. Screwdriver antenna. What's the other one?
Trailer park. Yeah.
Or Wolf River coil, Mad Dog coil. Those coil antennas. Probably Chameleon. They've got a vertical as well, don't they? Yep. The ground mounted vertical.
Chameleon has a very new antenna that's coming out, and they call it the PRV, the Portable Resonant Vertical, and it's a slider coil style design. It's a pretty neat design. I've got to do a video on one, but it has been ridiculously windy here, 30-mile-per-hour winds. I mean, like baseline 10-mile-per-hour winds, gust to 30 for the last 2 months. So like zero outdoor filming allowed. Unless you want to hear in the background of all my videos. I'm outside today doing an antenna and I'm voting for you. And
those DJI mics that we use, though, especially with the little windsock on them, they work quite well in windy conditions. Yeah, the dead cat, yeah.
But I don't work quite well in windy conditions, and the antenna going like this the whole time. Like, why is your signal fading? Because my antenna is fading.
Sabimi made a Gainmaster style antenna for 10 meters today and worked with 5 watts over the pond. So excellent stuff. 10 meters. I switched on before we started streaming, and 10 was looking pretty good today. The 10 meter ARRL contest, I think, was this weekend. So signals all over the band, CW down the bottom, and lots of SSB stuff too. Paul, ask you anything. What's the highest mountain in, I don't even know how to say that.
Azerbaijan. We don't know. We said ask us anything, but we didn't say we would know all the answers.
No idea. Does the Pocket 3 have clean HDMI out, or is it over USB?
So this is interesting. You plug it into USB. And
you're looking at the wrong camera.
Yeah, sorry, this camera. You either I switched to the Razer camera. You plug it into USB, and the first thing it will do is start charging. The second thing it will do is it will ask you, would you like to transfer files, or would you like to be a webcam, or you just ignore it and it goes away. So this is plugged into USB direct. There's no HDMI output at all. And if you have a cell phone, it will actually go Wi-Fi to the cell phone, so you can do a Wi-Fi preview. And I could stream from the cell phone to YouTube directly without any software in between, and then it would also be clean. So on the screen on the DJI Pocket 3, I can see the controls. I've got 14 hours of recording on my SD card. I've got 100% battery. I can zoom in and zoom out. I can switch cameras, so I can flip the camera around and you can see my beautiful wife, or any other thing, but you don't see any of that on the screen. And then this is the
Did her head just pop up just then and just go, what?
She's got her ignore my husband headphones in.
Oh, okay. Norm says, question. Oh, this is talking about the DX Commander. Will burying the radials make a difference? I have a DX Commander Classic, or is this a question for Cal?
They will not make a difference.
No, not any difference. The only difference that it will make, and he does supply, I think now, or you can buy from him the pegs to peg them down onto the grass, and then what will happen is after a certain amount of time, the grass will then grow over them, and it means that you won't have to remove them and move them away when you mow them because they'll bury themselves sort of naturally. So, or if you do decide to bury them, then you can mow over the top of them. That's probably the only difference that you'll find. And when I say difference, practical difference, I don't think you're going to notice it on the air. I'm waiting for a Quansheng UV-K6 to arrive. Any advice? I'm from the UK. Shipping is probably just very slow at the moment because it's obviously coming up to Christmas, so they're doing the absolute best they can, and I'm getting very distracted by a double TO. We've got two TOs. Two TOs.
DJI camera and the Razor camera.
I still like the DJI.
And the Razor froze again.
Just for a split second it did, yeah.
And then this is the DJI. So this is brighter, whiter, and then this is warmer, but I feel dark.
Is that a dog chewing a squeak toy?
That's my wife stepping on the squeaky toy. This is so weird. I'm in stereo.
Right. I'm starring a whole bunch of questions that are coming in. What other rabbit hole type hobbies do you guys have?
I used to race cars.
You used to race cars? I didn't know that.
I used to race cars, yeah. I had a Miata that I raced in autocross for a while, and then I had a BMW 3 Series that I raced for a while. And the BMW was more fun to work on, and the Miata was more fun to just drive every single day.
Yeah, just stuff being dropped over there. It's all happening. Yes. My hobbies are more sport-related hobbies, which I think a lot of people know. So
yeah, you play cricket.
I play cricket. I play soccer. Other hobbies,
AKA football.
AKA football. We don't call it that. We call it soccer. That's one thing that we do agree on. We both call it soccer.
Oh yes. So, good.
Yeah. Not quite sure. Ham radio is a very time-consuming hobby, so I don't really have a lot of other time for other technical hobbies, at least. I don't have much time for we were talking about games earlier on. I don't have a lot of time for gaming anymore. Probably the only stuff I've got is I've got a Nintendo Switch, and that's about all. And the thing that I play the most on the Nintendo Switch is Nintendo 64 emulators anyway. So there you go.
Cheesy. Yes, I mean, honestly, ham radio is filling up all of my time because it's a lot of fun, and you get to see results in real time as opposed to just kind of like play a predetermined game. I can affect the change on my own, like explore the space, as opposed to limited to this universe and you must do the rules of this universe.
Yeah, I just I don't have time for other things. Winter field day plans.
You're skipping to the bottom of the question stack.
Winter is 6 months away. No, this is just a quick one. Winter is 6 months away, so I'm not thinking about winter field day.
I am going to Quartz Fest in Arizona.
So technically not winter for you either. That's going to be...
I am never doing winter again. It's in the 50s today. That's cold enough.
Yeah.
And I am planning to attend Hamcation since we're jumping to the newest questions and ignoring everybody that has put all their hard work and effort into asking questions and has been desperately biting their fingernails waiting for answers. We're just going right to the end of the list.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to Hamcation.
Here's a question for you because you're a VE. What percentage of the general test will the digital stuff encompass?
2%. Unless you're talking about like 1970s, 1980s digital stuff like Pactor or Echolink, that will be definitely a good 4%. But if you're talking about like FT-8 or DMR or C4FM or D-Star, there will be 0% of those questions on the test.
Yeah. So they haven't updated them for the newer. No, there's some FT-8 questions on the general test.
Some, not much.
Yeah. Like very small percentage.
However, the advice that we give everybody that's taking the test, you can skip one entire section of the test. If you're not good at math, skip all of the math questions 100% and focus hard on all the rest of the questions, and you will still pass. Even if they give you math test questions and you fail them miserably, you will still pass the test if you get every other question right. So like, don't stress out about a certain function on the test. You have in your description, you have a link to ham radio prep, which will help you study, right? Is that right, Hayden?
Yep, there is a link to some courses, so you can use the code HAMDX, and you can get 20% off those. And that style of learning it suits me. I'm doing my extra study, which I need to get back to actually, because I haven't done a few modules recently. But yeah, you can use ham radio prep for sort of an interactive type study. You can use hamstudy.org if you want to just read the questions and study yourself at your own pace. There's lots of other different books that you can also get. So lots of different options. But yeah, basically, as Tio said, cram the stuff that you understand the most, and the stuff that you don't, then you can leave that. And you'll because what's it, 74%? 74%? Yep. So
35 questions, 74%.
Yep. So you can, and we're going to the bottom of the question pool again. Anonymous, how difficult is the extra exam?
When I did mine, there was 700 questions in the pool. So there's just a volume of knowledge to understand.
Yeah, it's not going to be something that you can memorize every single question. So extra, well, I mean, you probably could. But the extra exam, when I'm going through it now, I'm going through stuff which I haven't done in quite a number of years. But a lot of it also has to do with the regulatory stuff, because that's a bit different from what we have over here. So our regulations are a bit different. But yeah, like talking about, like vacuum tubes and Smith charts and, all of the super, super technical stuff. It is a level up from general, right? So
yes, definitely. And what I would recommend is if you have studied and passed tech and you have studied and passed general, don't stop studying. Just keep on doing it until you pass extra, because you're in that mode. You're in that learning mode and absorption mode. There are some things that, like voltage leading current, voltage lagging current, depending on how you're doing it, and like which half of the Smith chart is inductance and which half is capacitance. And one of the things that is really hard to understand is we just try to I want to pass the test because I want the extra privileges, as opposed to I want to actually build a radio. If you are a general and you start getting very serious into playing with ham radio and building kits and making antennas and making long distance contacts, a lot of that stuff will be within your grasp because you're actually doing it, as opposed to reading a section in a book that you're just trying to understand on paper, the theory, and then taking a test question that reminds you of the paper theory, that reminds you of what you read in the book. You've done this stuff. So when I was doing antenna modeling and I started playing with a Nano VNA, a little $50 toy that I use quite a lot on my ham radio excursions for testing out antennas, now I can kind of see the things that they're talking about in the study guide, and then the test questions make more sense, and I've got something to connect it to. And that was the thing that made it work for me. Yeah, Eli the Iceman, definitely.
Forgot to also say too, with our questions, if you do want to skip the rest of the, because there's quite a few that we've starred here, which is good. If you want to skip to the top of the queue, though, there's always the little super chat button, or if you're a YouTube member, you get you get your questions prioritized. So just
membership has its privileges. Click the join button.
There is perks. Extra. So when I did my general, because you were there, I hadn't really studied for the extra, and I think I was about it. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 50% or something. I think I scored more than what I had expected. So that wasn't too bad for no study. So okay, let's keep going with the list. How to know what ferrite core size and what wire on it can hold what power, and why it can hold more on SSB than AM or digital. I think there were some people that were answering this question in the chat. So I thought you were going to say something, or were you just yawning?
I stopped because you said so leading up to your answer, and I was like,
Tio's going to explain what he was about to say.
Take it away. So we make an antenna at coffeeandhamradios.com that is an end-fed half-wave that uses a 49-to-1 transformer. It depends, like to answer your question, it depends on how much power you're putting through to how much transformation is happening, to what kind of wire you're using, to the answer to your question. And the short answer, as always in ham radio, and you will get this a lot as you are becoming more and more of a ham. I have no idea how much of a ham you are, but you will certainly hear this all the time. It depends, is the answer to the question. However, what we do with our end-fed half-wave to figure out what it is we run a lot of power through it and figure out where it reaches what's called Curie temperature, which is where the toroid no longer has the ability, the core is saturated. It no longer has the ability to make that transformation, and it just kind of gives up, and you can actually watch your SWR creep up, and you just stop and the core cools off, because what you're doing when you're transforming from one to another is some of it's going away in heat and some of it's going away in radiation. So the amount that's being converted into heat is saturating the core, which is going to stop it from working. So you remove the heat, the core cools down, and you get back to your ability to do so. The reason why SSB doesn't do as much as AM, doesn't do as much as digital, is because SSB only transmits a signal when you are talking into the microphone, and AM transmits a signal whether you're talking or not, as long as you have the microphone PTT pushed. And digital transfers 100% of power while it's transmitting, and then it rests. So like FT8 as an example is, they call it 100% duty cycle, but it's really a 50%. For 15 seconds, 100% transmit. For 15 seconds, 100% rest. Whereas SSB, like if I've got a 1500 watt amplifier and I'm talking into the mic, I can probably get like 300 watts out on my normal talking. And then when I get really excited, I can get a full 1500 watts out of the microphone because I'm really putting a lot of power and emphasis into it. So that's why SSB is different. That makes sense?
Peak power. So if I was to back off from the microphone like this, I'm not as loud. But if I'm talking right into the microphone, I'm putting more power into the microphone. I'm putting more power out on SSB. And that's one thing to keep in mind. If you're, mainly operating on SSB, you can run huge more amounts of power than AM or digital for longer periods of time. Big Jim with a $5.70 super chat. Is the drift actually significant on the IC 9700 at 2 meters and 70 centimeters? KK6 US wire might believe you. So I was actually having this discussion the other day with somebody who has a 9700, and there is a little bit of a misconception with it. The radio does not drift significantly. And when we're talking about drift, we're talking about the oscillator inside the radio. So the master oscillator inside the radio is located in a way such as that when the fan and the radio turns on, it blows cool air over the power amplifier to cool it down. But then that airflow also then goes over the oscillator, which then causes the oscillator frequency to change slightly, which means that the frequency that you're operating on will change a little bit too. Now on SSB, you are not going to notice this on 2 meters, 70 centimeters, and you're very unlikely to notice it on 23 centimeters, which is the highest band in that radio. You definitely won't notice it on 2 meters and 70 centimeters on SSB. FM, you won't notice it at all. No way. The only time that you will notice this is mainly when you're running the very, very, very high tolerance modes like Whisper or some of the other modes in WSJTX, maybe Q65, JT65, where the frequency has to be within a certain tolerance for it to decode properly. Now, one of my friends who's in lots of the videos, Richard, he's got a 9700 and he does EME, and he just plugs into the back with the 10 megahertz and just sets it on auto calibration, and it just works fine for him. So he doesn't have any issues with that. So no, the drift is not significant. But if you do want to fix it, then you can get a little board from Leo Bodner, which will fix it for you. But it's nothing to be concerned about at all, especially on 2 meters and 70 centimeters, unless you're running those modes. Hello to Greg. Greg, KT4RAM, I think has renewed his membership. I'm pretty sure Greg has been a member in the past. So thank you very much for that. This is a question for you, Tio. Just got the general first HF rig. This is the BidX, isn't it? How do you say that?
No.
USDX? No.
The USDX
no, this is not the BidX.
Plus. This is the
Have you got
Chinese
both of these?
Knockoff. I do. This is the Chinese knockoff of the true SDX that DL2MAN and PE1 something ZZ or something like that. I can't remember Guido's call sign. Anyway, the G90 is $400 ish, and the USDX is $250 to $300 ish. You will be better served longer term with the G90. You will enjoy the G90 better. The USDX is a good toy starter play rig, but the G90 has a color waterfall. It has a built-in antenna tuner. It has an easier ability to do digital modes. It's got 20 watts instead of 5 watts. So you'll have a lot more fun with the G90. It will last you a lot longer. And I like both of these radios, don't get me wrong, but since you're asking which one is better, the G90 is better.
Now, someone else asked, and let me find it while we're on that question, any new word on the new Zygu? Because I saw something about this the other day. I didn't really pay too much attention, but there is a new one.
Yes, there is a new one. And before we get too far from the G90, Hayden, you should have a discount link in your description that'll get him $15 off of the G90. So that's a little bit of help there. And if not, you can drop it in the chat while I answer this question about the Zygu. Zygu had the 6100. They gave us notification like 5 months ahead of time that we shared on our channels that they were going to release a new version. And about a month and a half or 2 months ago, they came out with that new teaser of the new radio. So you have about 3 months left to go before you hear about the X6200. They finally named it. So it's going to be like the X6100, but it's going to have a slightly better case. It's going to have a detachable battery. The radio's technology is direct up conversion, direct down conversion instead of direct sampling. A couple of other minor changes. Hopefully it's going to have like better built-in Wi-Fi that has some ability to get out of the metal cage that it's built into. So like an
antenna tuner in that?
100. It should definitely have an antenna tuner. Almost all of Zygu's modern radios, except for the G106, have a built-in antenna tuner. The 5105, the G90, the 6100.
10 watts, not 20 watts, right?
I would 5 watts on battery and 10 on external power, but I don't have it in my hands yet, and we don't have the specs yet.
Yep, I feel like we've got a chip off stream coming when they release that as 6100 versus a 6200. So that's a Zygu.
Trevor, hold on. We're still on that question. Trevor, will the front end get overloaded by broadcast stations 10 miles away? Yes. That is a Zygu standard. And my friend K9DP has a broadcast interference filter that you can get off of Amazon or eBay that will take care of that really easy. You can buy it as a kit and make it yourself, or you can buy it pre-built, but it solves that AM broadcast station overload issue.
Actually, interesting that Trevor brought up that question because I am thinking of doing a video today, and it's going to be about the performance of these Chinese radios when they're in the presence of a high broadcast environment, and I'm going to use the Tiny SA to show what that looks like. So if you have anything that you would like to see in that, I'm going to go to a broadcast site, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, if I got time, and we'll show the comparison of using.
James, I'll get you a link in a second.
Using something like a Yaesu versus a Baofeng, and just seeing what the differences are between the two. So, let me know if there's anything that you would like to see in that video to make that even better. You're putting the link in there for that broadcast filter.
Yeah.
Yep. Just trying to keep up with the chat. Keep the questions and the comments coming. Love it. A couple of questions, there's like no questions for me. They're all for Steve. This is fantastic.
Right.
Do you have a master plan for travel? And then it's kind of like, are you enjoying the motorhome? What do you miss the most?
So master plan for travel, I pick big, hairy destinations I like to go to. So Quartzfest and Hamcation and Zion is the new Hamfest that's coming out, and then Dayton and things along those lines that I want to do that are really big goals, and then we can just kind of fill it in with interesting things along the way to get from point A to point B. That's the master plan so far. Am I genuinely enjoying the life in the RV? Yes, I am. One of the things that is frustrating is the weather has really just like the bad weather has followed us everywhere we've gone. I don't like that so much. Right now, it's not like it's a beautiful sunny day outside, blue skies, hardly any clouds, but 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. So I still can't do anything outside. And that's where it gets a little angsty.
Have you heard of the band Crowded House before?
No.
They're an Australian New Zealand band. They have a song which is called Weather with You. And one of the lines in the song is everywhere you go, you'll always take the weather with you. So that sounds like something that you're experiencing at the moment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't play that due to copyright issue, but it is a very nice song. Right. So check it out. It is a cool song. It's iconic. Okay. What is the difference between ham and prosciutto? I prefer ham. Do you prefer ham or prosciutto?
I think prosciutto is a better cut of pork, and it's sliced thinner than ham. They're both fantastically tasty. Just depends on what you're doing with it. Like prosciutto wrapped around a nice mozzarella like stick kind of thing. Like a mozzarella stick is usually bigger, and they usually refer to being breaded. I just mean like a tube of mozzarella appropriately sized for the amount of prosciutto you're wrapping around it. Fantastic.
I think probably the main difference is probably cost, right? Although some hams can cost quite a bit of money.
Well, yeah, prosciutto is very expensive because it's considered snooty.
Yeah, snooty. Question: what are your day jobs? So my day job is I'm a systems administrator. I'll say that, an IT systems administrator.
Right. I'm a fry cook at McDonald's.
Are you? So you cook all the burgers?
No. I cook fries. I'm a fry cook.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant deep fry. Right. Not do you just do the
deep
fries.
fry burgers in Australia? Is that a thing over there? That's weird.
It is if it's chicken, because see we do. This is the argument that I had when I was over there.
Burgers, that's weird too.
Well, you said that they're sandwiches. So if you ask for a chicken burger, it'll be a deep fried chicken burger.
Okay.
The chicken portion, not the bun, but yeah.
The whole thing breaded and deep fried.
So if you have right, no, I'm gonna have to put this is another poll that's gonna have to is it a chicken burger or chicken sandwich? Let's put this in a thing, and don't disappoint me, please. So what we're asking here is, so here in VK and probably the rest of the world, I don't know, if it is on a bun, it is a burger. It doesn't matter what's in it. If it's on a bun, it's a burger. It can be beef, it can be chicken, it can be whatever. It's a burger. If it's on bread, then it's a sandwich. However, it's different in the United States, right?
Bread. Yeah, in the United States, we refer to the old German for hamburger, and it's ground beef formed in the shape of a patty, and then you cook it on a grill, and then whatever you do to it after that is whatever you do to it after that.
But see, then if
fried
you say
chicken sandwiches and grilled chicken sandwiches.
But see, with that logic, wouldn't that mean that it would have to be ham on the burger?
No. Hamburger is a German word. It's a German word.
Oh, right.
It's
got nothing to do with ham
in Germany too.
Okay.
Probably means hamstring.
And see, I'm already saying I'm already probably 2 steps behind because the majority of the audience will be in the US. So I reckon it's actually closer than I thought. So that's good. So we'll see what that comes out as. But I think ours is always that if it's on bread, like actual bread, slice of bread, then it's a sandwich.
Yes,
if it's on a bun,
100% agree.
Yes. If it's on a bun, then we say that it's a burger because, like, we say chicken burger. But anyway, interesting stuff that we are discussing today.
Berliner, isn't a Berliner a donut? Are you just mentioning German words for products?
Where have I heard that? That's on a TV show or a movie or something. Damburger. Oh, that's Steve Martin in the Pink Panther movie. He says that. I think he says is it a Damburger?
Ich bin ein Berliner.
He goes to the US. He says, "I'd like to buy a Damburger." Trevor Student. Someone told me that each harmonic you go down on an end-fed half-wave multiband, you lose 50% efficiency. How true is this?
I don't have an answer for that.
I don't have an answer for that either.
Everything's a compromise.
Yeah. So if yeah, I don't have an answer for that. So I'm not sure. Not sure. I don't know about 50% efficiency. 50% seems like an awful lot because if you're building an end-fed half-wave antenna for 40 meters, by the time you get to 10 meters, you're saying that it's what? 10, like, I don't know how many bands is that in between?
100 watts in, you're getting 25 watts out.
Yeah.
No, you're getting 12.5 watts out. It's 4 bands total.
That sounds a little bit extreme. It's a little bit like that the old the myth of every single barrel connector or every single connector that you have in the line in your coax will be 1 dB per connector, which is just not true. So
Paul's got you, Trevor.
Oh, sorry.
Paul says there's no loss of efficiency on the harmonics on an end-fed half wave.
Yeah, it didn't sound right, but we didn't want to go making any grand statements, not knowing the answer. So
I'd rather tell you I don't know and get back to you than come up with some answer out of whole cloth that I just made up on the spot.
Well, this is the whole thing about ham radio is that it's much more fun to go and research this stuff rather than just be like, oh, this is the way that it is. And because we don't know everything. We definitely don't know everything. We're just learning as we go, right?
Well, I mean, the best teacher you could ever have is a teacher who is still learning something new.
Okay, next. How to transmit recorded audio on the FT-891, not messages, but record a station and play it back to them. I don't have an FT-891, and neither do you. So if anyone in the chat knows how to do that, I don't think that you would be able to play it back on the air, would you? I don't think my 7300 does that.
I've seen people do that, but I've never messed around with the record the inbound QSO function. Like my 705 has it turned on, and I'm like, yep, I'm filling up my SD card.
Because I was going to say, I feel like that would be a bit interesting. You could just be recording people off air and then just playing it back over the top of them. So I'm not quite sure.
So I have seen somebody do that. Yeah, I've seen somebody do that. A friend of mine was having a QSO on the radio, and he's like, I'm trying out a new antenna. How do I sound? And the guy says, here's how you sound. Play. And it played back how he sounded to him over that same connection.
Which is probably, if you get propagation change or something, it could sound terrible or it could sound really, really good.
But if I hear you at a 5.9 and then you play me back and I was a 3.3 to begin with, I'm hearing a 3.3 signal played over a 5.9 connection. That's deep, but I hope that made sense.
That's deep.
Deep.
Shipmate, what are your thoughts on Yaesu System Fusion, and do you think it's here to stay, or is there another up-and-coming digital mode that will make it obsolete? Any others you'd recommend? I don't know.
Yes.
I've never used System Fusion. I've got the hardware and the equipment, but I haven't used it yet.
I've done a video on using System Fusion. I think it's ridiculously easy to get set up, which is a good thing. Use whatever your local repeater has, and repeaters don't change all that frequently because it's a lot of work to make them change, and it's also pretty expensive to throw away the old, repeater you spent money on and buy a new piece of repeater hardware to replace it. So like switching your local club's repeater from Fusion to D-Star would be $1,000 worth of investment plus an argument of at least 2.5 years with everybody in the club over and over again. So it's not going to change that frequently. There is a new digital mode that's coming up called M17, but there aren't really any commercially available radios to purchase yet that do it. So I don't know how long it'll be before that comes around, and then somebody would have to go through that repeater argument to replace the repeater hardware. So it's going to be a while is what I'm getting at.
Yep. Frank says it's better than D-Star.
Yes.
D-Star confuses me, and that's I've used D-Star a couple of times. I still don't fully understand it. So Yaesu System Fusion, though, seems like it's relatively easy, isn't it? It's like a it's like a chat room of hotspots, right? And you just pick the one that you want to connect to, basically.
So there's a couple of different ways to do it. Yes is the answer to that question, but when if you had ever taken your FT5D out of the box, the first thing that happens when you turn it on is it asks you for your call sign. And because it's asked you for your call sign and that is the only configuration parameter needed, you're done. Now you can talk to me directly over Simplex by pushing the button, the button to switch it into digital mode, and it will automatically switch back to analog for an analog conversation, or automatically switch to digital because you and I both have 5Ds. And then if you're on the repeater, which is a Fusion repeater, it's the same thing. It's that same button. It automatically switches between analog and digital. Magic. If you want to talk over a hotspot, there's like 3 more steps to do and you're done. Like step 1 is making the hotspot. Step 2 is connecting to the hotspot. Step 3 is the same stuff all over again.
Now, what this is going to be is it's going to be in the year 2050. It's going to be for sale, mint in box FT5D, and it's going to be the last one in the world, and no one's ever going to be able to get one, and I'm going to be able to get big bucks for that. That's the plan for it.
Yes.
45 Voto says that my FT5 is my answer to Ham Radio 2.0 and his DX Commander. I think so. Okay. Bryant says C4FM is very simple. D-Star is a mess.
Yes.
It's a bit of it. So D-Star is an Icom interpretation, an Icom for ham radio is what I'm trying to say, I think. But it seems like it's super overly complicated for what it is.
Yes.
But that's just my opinion, which might be incorrect. And the question also had something about any future digital modes. Who really knows? Like, who knows what's just around the corner? I'd like to see a little bit more digital on HF, like digital voice. I know you got free DV and stuff like that on HF, but it doesn't seem to have as much use. When that's concentrated down into a small SSB, not an SSB, into smaller slices of spectrum so that they're more efficient and that they can work at lower noise levels, that would be really cool.
Yes. And now that the FCC in the US has gotten rid of the symbol rate, well, they're planning on getting rid of the symbol rate as opposed to just being allowed to get rid of the symbol rate. Now it's actually on the books to be done, to be pedantic. That should improve HF digital modes because we're not limited to a specific symbol rate anymore.
Sorry, I said Icom. I meant Japan Radio
Charles.
League. Where's that comment? There it is. Icom doesn't own D-Star. No, sorry.
Absolutely right.
The Japan Amateur Radio League was where it basically was formed, and it's in mainly the Icom radios, Kenwood radios. I think Alinco maybe also has D-Star in it as well. So there was another question.
Well, while you're doing that, Aaron says the hardest part of D-Star is just registering. Beyond that is no harder than DMR. That's correct, but DMR isn't that easy either. I've done all of them, and by far C4FM Fusion is the easiest one to do. But it depends on who you're trying to talk to and what they have, and that's where you go. You figure out the mission first, and then you figure out the equipment to get the mission completed.
It's ham radio's answer. It's ham radio's answer to like Xbox versus PlayStation, and then trying to communicate with someone running on the same game but on different platforms. So, yeah, it's. I know that when I tried to register for D-Star, I had to register it on like my nearest repeater or nearest reflector or something, and it took like days to get back, and then I had to like contact them again and say, hey, have you registered me on this? And then you're not supposed to register on more than 2. So I'm like, well, what happens then if I move to a different location? And it was just all confusing. I just didn't understand it, and I've listened to it a couple of times, and the audio quality is just like any other digital mode, I suppose. Greg, are you still liking the TID Radio H8? So I don't know whether I actually liked it in the beginning. When we did because you did a review on it, and I did a review on it, and Ape did a review on it, and everyone did a review on it. And it was a little bit strange because we got what I would say, we got the radios that they were selling at the time, and we had some issues with, obviously, with spurious emissions, but also the battery terminals got hot. And then they sent us all different radios, which were essentially the same, but with the problem that was fixed. Which, did they just do it for us? I don't know. Did they do it for everyone? I know some people have had issues and then they've tried to get refunds and they haven't been able to get refunds. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with TID. If you purchase through Amazon, then Amazon's program tells you that you can return it that way, which is the best way if you were going to buy one of those radios. I don't know. The radio at the moment that I'm liking the most is probably the Quansheng, because
it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's spectrally a whole lot cleaner. Like it's very, 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 very close to meeting spec in the FCC spec. It meets the Australian spec, which is funny, and I'm talking like 2 dB or 1 dB away. It's like really close. I got another radio the other day, which is the UV-5R Plus, which is basically just a UV-K5 in another different case.
Weird.
It doesn't have... So where the USB-C was, it's now a blank plate. There's no USB-C. So that's different. But I haven't been able to get those radios... I've been able to get them to receive on SSB, but it hasn't been as good as some of the videos that I've seen online. So I think we might need to do a stream on that and try and figure out... We can get some people to help us out and see if we can get it to work.
So Refresh is asking, what would be the best recommended modern HF radio, FTDX101 MP? But that's a lot of cash. That's a lot of coin.
What about the budget ones? I'm going to say either the FT710 or the FTDX10, because they both have the best receivers you can get at the moment, according to the Sherwood reports.
So we did a chip off on these radios. The FTDX10 has the same receiver as the FTDX101 MP, but the FTDX101 MP is 200 watts and 2 receivers. And then the FT710 removes the roofing filter and adds in a magical acoustical thing called AESS. And then the FT710 field removes the extra speaker that you would need to run the AESS. So really, it comes down to your budget. All of the modern Yaesu HF radios, the 710, the FTDX10, the 101, the 101 MP, they're all great radios. So, spend with your budget and spend as much as you can, because that radio will last you a long, long time. You might get excited and want to go play with another radio because it has some feature, and then you'll just look at your manual and realize that your radio already has that same feature anyway. It's going to take a long time for you to exceed the capabilities of any modern HF Big 3 radio.
So I just put a link to our chip-off stream for that. So thank you. Bradley. Evening, Tio and Hayden. Thank you, Bradley. Happy holidays, boys. What modules do I have in my 89208? I need to remember. I can look them up and tell you. It has the tracking generator. I know that. And I think it has the high stability reference in it. I need to go back and find the person who sold it to me, because they sent it to me in a message, which I will find momentarily. So I might let T.O. take the next question while I try and find the answer to that.
Sure. So the next question that comes up is an HF J-pole possible? So the highest HF band is 10 meters. 10 meters you can definitely do a J-pole on, but it really comes down to your constructive engineering intuitiveness and talents. Yes, you can do it. It just requires a lot of space, right?
Yes.
All right.
Here we go. I found the person finally. Let me scroll back through messages and see what module it has.
You keep on looking. I'm going to look at Thomas's question. Thomas says, will any of you be doing hands-on reviews of the PMR 171? Thomas, I am currently backed up on reviews, but if they would like to reach out to either one of us, both of us would be happy to do it. Otherwise, we've got to get through our backlog of reviews to do, and then spend some coin to make it happen.
So that's GeoHeck. How do you say that? GeoHeck Tech, the 100 kilohertz to 2 gig. Yeah. So they reached out to me, and apparently they're sending me one, but I haven't had it arrive yet. So I'm interested in doing a hands-on review up on the higher bands and seeing how it operates up there, up at 2 gigahertz. So that'd be interesting to see. So these are the options that my 8920A has. I have option 001, option 004, 013, 014, 102, which I know is the tracking generator, and 103. So they're the options.
What does that mean for the rest of us?
So you need to look them up. So let me have a look here and see. HP 8920A options. There is a website that shows you what they are. Which is, we're talking about a service monitor here too.
Okay. That helps. I thought he was talking about like a Yaesu 8900 series.
No, sorry. This is the service monitor. Where is it?
I'm going to share your screen out since you're searching service monitor pages.
So this is the service monitor page, and there is a page on this website somewhere that has, here we go, the options. No, that's the ones they've got for sale. What option is what? Anyway, you can look those up if you know what they are. It's going to take me too long to try and find them. I know that I looked
Paste
them
that
up
link in the chat.
Yeah. There we go.
All right, awesome. Question comes from Randall. Randall, all other things being equal, is a full wave better than 5/8, better than quarter?
Okay, so when you go to a full wave, so when you go to anything more than a 5/8 wave, the radiation pattern, when you model it, it starts to collapse on itself. Is that a good analogy to use? I'm not sure. Anyway, when you get to about a 5/8 wave, that's I think when you get the maximum amount of radiation towards where you want it to go, basically. And then it starts, because I think if you go to a 3/4 wave, it will match, but it'll end up the radiation pattern will end up looking more like a quarter wave. When you go to a full wave, the only full wave antenna that I've had is a 80 meter full wave loop, which was huge, obviously, because it's 80 meters worth of wire. And that was only a few meters off the ground, and that was a very quiet antenna. We probably should do a stream on this. Here's an example here on MMA&A of antenna modeling. This is a 5/8 wave antenna. What I'm trying to talk about here is, that's not it. Let's go real. Is this kind of thing. Once you get to a 3/4 wave, the whole pattern changes. I'm not sure if I've got one here in my files that I can show. Do I have a 3/4 wave? No, I don't think I do. But you get to a certain limit where a longer antenna doesn't necessarily mean more gain. When you'll also see some antennas will be stacked, so like stacked 5/8s or stacked half waves, and that's how they obtain more gain. Do you have anything on that, T.O., while you readjust yourself?
I switched over to the Razer Kaizen. It's whiter. and still does the focus hunting. I've never played with one of these antennas one way or the other, and the MMANA is still something that I need to learn how to do, so I really don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, Chris is talking about the 0.64, which is 5/8 wave, is the magic number. I remember reading that somewhere, and I'd have to find where it is.
All right. Next question.
Thank you. Just a quick one. Thank you, Cyanide, for the £1, I think. So appreciate that. Next question. Will a more expensive radio... we've covered this before.
Yes, we have.
Will a more expensive radio let you hear more stations on a good antenna?
I would say the shortest answer possible is yes. The longer answer is there's a lot of skill set between you and an expensive radio. So if you are cash conscious, if you are spending aware, you can get a much lower priced radio and spend some time figuring out how to get it to work. So as an example, I have an FT-891, and I realized the other day that the DNR function on the 891, which cleans up all the background noise that you would hear instead of the actual person talking, if I turn the RF gain down while I turn the DNR up, I can get the DNR to work better than if I have the RF gain too high. Like if the radio is shouting at the DNR has so much to work with that it's overwhelmed and it sounds like garbage to my ears. But if I change a bunch of different settings inside the radio, I can make it sound really sweet. And the FT-891 is one of the sweeter sounding radios, and it's only $600. So US. So if you are working on, I probably looked at the wrong camera the whole time I was saying that. So I'll look over at this camera instead. If you are very advanced in radio, then spending more money would get you even more things to play with to tweak the signal even harder to get you better results. I'm not there yet myself.
Would you say that the 891 is one of the best mobile HF radios that you can get? It seems like everyone has one for that purpose.
I need to do a serious usability hands-on comparison between the 7100, which has a lot of features that I like, and the 891, which has a lot of features that I like, and figure out which one I like better than the other. I have not played with the noise reduction features on the 7100 yet, and I need to do that.
Cool.
But so far, yes, the 891 is a really good mobile radio.
Thank you, Richie's Radio Room, for the $3 super sticker. Super stickers don't show up on StreamYard, but it is looks like a dancing bird.
Yeah.
We're just about to end the poll too. 47% think it is a chicken burger, and 52%, that should be 53%, say that it's a chicken sandwich. So, well, that's closer than I thought. So good stuff.
So this is the Razor. It's overexposed, but I feel bright. I feel seen. And then if I switch back to the DJI, it's warmer. I think it's StreamYard.
So I want to cover this question. Now I'm trying to find the answer off to the side of my desk. Let's have a look here.
Which question?
The question, this one. Who is the oldest living ham in the world?
That's a hard one.
Now, I don't know because there isn't any one that's like
we're not friends.
We had. I know that there was a guy in. So one of the contests that we do here is called the Remembrance Day contest, and as part of that, you put in how long or the number that you exchange as part of that is how long you've been licensed for. And I know someone had been licensed for like 70 something years, and they are in their 90s. They're obviously, I'm sure that there's someone that's a lot older than that, but the ham that I wanted to feature here, and I don't know, someone might know how old he is, but this is I don't know when this photo was taken. This is Mr. Inui from Japan. He is the founder and I think still the current president, might be the correct word, of Icom. Icom Global in Japan, and I believe I have heard that Mr. Nui does watch our YouTube channels occasionally, or does watch our reviews. So if someone sees this, or he sees this video, I want to say hello and thank you for everything that you've done for amateur radio over the many years. I know that I think there was a photo recently where Ray Novak went to Japan for the Tokyo Ham Fair, and I believe that there was a photo that he got with Mr. Nui. I was trying to see if I could find it. I think it's posted on social media somewhere. But he's done a lot for amateur radio, and I believe that he's probably in his 90s now. I don't know his exact age. Someone in the chat might know. But I don't know who the oldest living ham is. Andy says 106. I don't know who that is, but if you know who that is, that'd be interesting. Jack W9ULA 95. So yeah, there's lots of hams that have been hams for a very long time and are still active. So which is great.
Excellent. Next question up is from Charles. Charles is studying for tech and has a handheld. He wants a mobile for part base station and portable to the car. Can you recommend a budget-ish 270 mobile that has good scanning features? Take it away.
Oh, good scanning features. Up until that last bit, I was probably going to say were you thinking the Anytone? The Anytone UV, what is it, 578? The mobile. I reviewed it about a month ago, and that was really good. The only problem with it is terribly slow on scanning.
Right. I don't scan, so I don't know.
I don't generally scan. I mean, I will scan in the car occasionally, but that's only on like maybe 2 or 3 repeaters, so it's not a lot of channels that it needs to get through to get back to the start of the scan cycle. What other scanning features do you want though? Like, is that because so like my Yaesu in the car will scan, and then I can lock out channels that I don't want to listen to. I can also select channels that I want to listen to, and then I can also select like a priority channel, which it will scan through the normal list, but almost like every second scanning channel that it goes through, it'll check the priority channel all the time so that you don't lose anything or lose any anything on that. This radio won't do that. So I don't know. We spoke about this a little bit before we started the stream, didn't we? About what was it? The debate was which Icom mobile is the best,
right?
Because we sort of said, well, the Yaesu, it's like 2 models, and one of them's discontinued, so it's like the FTM 500 is probably the best mobile, 270 mobile.
Yes.
That. I mean, you could use that as a base station as well, but I'm not sure whether you'd want to. And Icom has like 4 or 5 different choices, right? But that's not budget.
Yeah.
That's not budget-ish.
Icom's
that's
got
not
like
budget-ish.
the 2730, the 40. I don't know what the 4000 model is. The 5100, the 7100. So they've got like 4 current mobile radios.
But that's not budgeted, is it? So,
I guess it depends on budget too. That's a personal question.
Maybe have a look back at the Anytone radio, because I was, relatively impressed with it. Yeah, it's a tough one. And the radio that I run in my mobile you can't buy it anymore. The FT-891. It's a quad band radio. Mm-hmm. So they don't. Hey,
the 710 Kenwood.
Well, the 710's one that you can't buy.
Not a budget either. I mean,
it's not a budget. Definitely not a budget.
Take your budget and go to a ham fest and make 3 laps.
and then try and bargain them down. And it also depends on whether a budget is Shack in the Box, because a Shack in the Box will get you everything else too. But then you can't, unless it's like an FT. Like what's a mobile package? Is an 891? Does that do 270? No, that's only HF and 6 meters.
Nope. Maybe the 7100 has it beat.
Maybe the 7100 here. Yeah. Oh, this is terrible.
I like that radio.
Yeah. So maybe the 7100, because then you could move it between a base and mobile, and then you get HF and VHF, UHF as well. I'm just scrolling down here through some of the other. These are Australian prices, by the way. So
how big is your car?
Yeah. Is it the 51? Jeez, that's $1,000.
Yeah, I know. For $1,000, it better tie my shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 2730.
Now the 2730, I believe, is full duplex, which is what makes that nice.
Well, so you could use that for satellite, amongst other things as well. So,
and then I always forget about these radios. Like the 2300 is just kind of like a boring plain Jane 270 radio, which means it probably has fine scanning.
See, mine's a boring Yaesu mobile that I've got in the car, but it served me well, and it keeps serving me well. And, like you got all of the fancy features, but how many fancy features do you use on these radios? That's what I want to.
I want to impress my passengers. That's all that
matters. Well, I was
to me
impressed with your 7100 when you had that. I was impressed
with the All-Star node too.
That didn't work half the time. You mean?
Well, only when I didn't turn it on.
And then we were halfway driving through Indiana, and we were calling on all these repeaters, and no one was replying to us. So we spoke to each other in the cabin of the car via the repeater.
Handed the microphone back and forth to each other. It was good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, I'll put a link into the chat for the Anytone radio, because that is a budget radio. But look up a few different reviews, see if it's what you want, and whether it will suit what you're after. So I'll just put that. Oh, so
while you're doing that, Ron
sorry,
has a question.
It's also the red of us.
Have you sent pictures over your YSF radio? I can say with 100% certainty that Hayden has not done this because his radio is still in the box. Yeah. I also haven't done it because I don't have the Yaesu camera mic, and I haven't uploaded a picture to my Yaesu to send. And I'm also very lonely out here in the middle of the desert.
No one to listen.
No one to talk to.
No one to receive your pictures.
Now, if Hayden would get his radio out of the box and he would get onto a hotspot, I could send him a picture over YSF over the hotspot, I'm sure. That would be fun.
Well, maybe we need to do a stream. We need to do a stream setting up the hotspot. That's probably the first thing that we need to do, right? So
next week. Done.
W4OXH turned 106 September the 25th. Well, that's going to be a hard one to beat. So, very good. There's a few more. Oh dear, I'm just going back into the chat.
You keep doing that. Thomas is Z Echo Tango 999 super sticker. Thank you very much, Thomas. I don't know what I'm singing. And then Jody has gifted 5 Ham Radio DX memberships.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you very much. Jody did that last week too, and there was a list of those who got it. Ryan, K5TAR, KD4NGC, Tracy, KI5UXN, Garth, WG2G, and Greg, Ola, I think that's pronounced. Thanks, guys. That is fantastic. Thank you very much, Jody.
What happened to Radio Runner?
Well, that was a question that I saw there. I spoke to Chris the other day. He is extremely busy with stuff that is not radio related. So I am trying to see if we can get back making videos again. So she won't do that?
No. I mean, you don't want to hear it anyway.
Oh, Jonathan, since a hot dog is on a bun, is it a burger? No, it's not. Don't try and turn my words against me.
Right? It's a wiener.
It's a little wiener. Where is the? Oh, so someone said about the TYT 9800. There are some problems with that radio though, and I think our friend Joe Brett has had this radio before and has commented on the problems that it presents. Like it just does power amplifier finals and some things break on it. So I wouldn't say that it is a radio that I would trust. I mean, others might have refined it, they might have fixed it. Let me know in the chat if you've got a 9800. But that is the Yaesu, that is the Chinese rip-off of the Yaesu quadbander that I've got in the car. Shipmate, what camera do you use for streaming? I use the Sony ZV-E10 camera.
That's a nice camera, yeah, and that's got a really quick focus on it.
It is really good. Mr. Nui is apparently 93, and he's still well and truly active and doing everything
nice
in Icom. So just scrolling back through, we'll get to some more questions here in a sec. James, big fan of the 710. I hope that they make a new one too. They've made that TH75 handheld. I hope that they do a replacement for the mobile. It feels that really niche product. Niche space, doesn't it? With real APRS in the radio, a whole bunch of awesome features, great audio, great sounding radio on the air. So, yeah, I've got my 710 that I've got to put in the car. I actually did the other day on Friday put a new antenna base on my car. So I'm putting my 5th antenna on the car. So
holy moly,
just a little milestone,
right?
I'm going to put what we call a 6-foot skip whip on the front of the car.
Nice. That'll be awesome. So the next live stream is half an hour from now. Are we going to fill the gap?
We can if you want to stick around.
Well, how about I take the first break and you carry, and then you can take the break and I'll carry.
Is that what we're going to do? Is it that might cause everyone to stop watching?
No. You keep talking. You keep answering questions.
We have been going for an hour and a half. It's been fantastic that we've got all of these questions, and there's been some that we haven't been able to get to, which is we apologise for. But you know what you need to do if you want us to see your question and get above all the others. We mentioned that earlier. So, but yeah, who's streaming it? Who's streaming in half an hour?
Frank, KG5AHJ on Tech Radio is talking about building a new shack, and he's going to have Vern 6 as his guest today.
Oh, sweet. Quansheng UV-K6, do you have any tips and advice for you? I was actually, just before I do continue, it's not like your dinner time or anything, like your wife's not making you dinner or is telling you to get off streaming.
I need a quick 5 seconds if you can carry this UV-K6 question for that long.
I'm assuming that for the 5 seconds you're going off to your left. Is that what you're trying
to do? Yes, exactly.
Yes, I can carry the stream for 5 seconds. All right. You may relieve yourself. Quansheng UV-K6. Don't take the microphone with you. We can still hear you.
Right.
Do you have any tips and advice for using the radio, and is buying a better antenna a good idea, as I have one coming? So it depends on too if you're doing, so the K6 is like this this version of the radio. They changed the front face, and I think they might have upgraded the speaker. If you're using the stock firmware in the radio, then the only advice really is don't. There's like much better modification firmwares. The EZ Guma, I think it is EZ Guma version, and the latest version is 0.19. Let me find that. Pretty sure it's EG Zoomer. Sorry, EG Zoomer. And I'll put a link in for it. This version of firmware fixes includes a whole bunch of other fixes from previous versions as well. It has the AM radio fix, so you can listen to airband. It also gives you a few other features, like you can adjust mic gains, you can lock out transmit frequencies, you can choose which frequencies you want. So it's a good idea that if you put that firmware on, you can actually go in and you can change which frequencies you can only access. So you can only lock it down to say 2 and 70 centimeters, and then you can give them out to your club members if you're buying them in bulk or something like that. Better antenna, definitely. This stock antenna is no good. Probably something like a Nagoya antenna or a signal stick for 2 and 70 centimeters at least. That'll work a lot better. The radio's not that good of a receiver outside of 2 and 70, outside of VHF, UHF, 2 and 70 centimeters for ham radio. But you can receive, it receives 6 meters reasonably well, but you'd need a decent antenna for that.
Do you still have signal sticks?
I do not have any in stock, no. I was thinking about getting some on the Black Friday sale that he had. I couldn't believe how many he sold. He sold like lots of those and they sold out really quick. But no, I don't have any current signal sticks in stock. In actual fact, I've got those AIOC boards that I still need to get to. So that's
nice. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, I need to program those up. I need to find a Linux box that I can do that with.
Raspberry Pi, man.
The Pi. Andy shared Tank's link in the chat, so thanks. That's coming up.
Thank you, Andy.
Next in about 25 minutes. Brian,
some guy wanted to know where I am. I'm right here. What happened?
But you weren't right there. You were right
here
over
the whole
there.
Time.
Yeah. You two are a great team to watch. Thank you, Bryant. Over
there. There's nothing over there. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll make sure to order a lead to apply the firmware then. This is my first radio. Yeah, so that's going
to be a lot of fun.
I don't have it with me. The programming cable that I used was like out of a UV5R packet. Like it was just like a Baofeng radio cable. I just plugged it in and it just worked for me. I know some people have had problems with theirs, so you might need to try a different cable. But I think the one that I used was one from Radio Oddity. I'm pretty sure that one was fine. So, Ryan, glow in the dark signal stick. Yeah, they're pretty cool. So that photo, I'll bring it up and show you. Yeah, it's cool on. Picture. So he makes those signal sticks in like the hundreds, if not thousands. And here's a photo of the Jenga pile. Like, look at all of those signal sticks. That is a lot. That is a lot of antennas.
It's a lot of awesomeness. That's a lot of people out there that have ham radios. So that'll give you an idea of how popular the hobby is.
Well, he's got stats here. So this is from January 1 to October the 30th. He sold over 14,000 signal sticks and over 9,000 adapters.
Nice.
So
our friend Colin is saying signal sticks look too long for easy carrying. They are a bit long, but you can actually, wrap them up and fold them on themselves because they are super elastic by design. And then you can, if you wanted to get that extra signal power out or that extra receive power out, you could uncoil it. They actually ship coiled up.
So, look, this is how flexible it is. You can fold it up. It won't work very well transmitting like that, especially on 2 meters. But the uncoiling, and this is a safety warning, make sure that you hold it when you uncoil it because it will fling back and it will take your eye out. So,
and these things are cold sensitive, which is interesting because in the cold it'll kind of.
Oh, there's another word for that, isn't there?
Yeah. Shrinkage.
Yeah. Signal stick or Nagoya? I'm going to say signal stick because you're supporting ham study and you're supporting a great cause, which then goes towards getting more hams on the air. So I'd say signal stick. I did get a pile of them, but we need to work on that. Hello to Dippy TV, President Repeater Coordinator of Bunya Mountain and District Amateur Radio Club. That's awesome. Gary. We got some more. You got to wonder if a signal stick tied in a loop had any direction finding properties. It's interesting.
Good idea.
You put that on the end of a 705 and go for a bit of a walk and see what it does. Yeah.
Or the new UV-17 has the signal strength indicator on it, so you can use the signal strength indicator in coordination with your looped antenna.
Yeah. James uses his signal stick, coil it up in the go bag, Then he keeps a short ducky on my HT for everyday carry since I can hit my local repeater with 1/4 of a watt. Yeah, that's particularly fine for repeaters that are close.
Yep. Some guy's asking, what part of Australia are you in?
I am in this part here. So this is the current band conditions of 10 metres at the moment on PSK Reporter. Here is mainland Australia. And as you can see, we pretty much live all on the coast here in Australia. And I am down here. I'm on an island. This is the island of Tasmania, which is south of the mainland. And I'm down here in the south of the island. So
the deep south.
The deep south. The deep south. I'm in the deep south, and you're in the deep south, aren't you?
I am currently in Texas. Yes.
Yep.
Do you have a pet devil?
No. So
yes, he has a pet drop bear.
Tasmanian devils are nocturnal animals. You don't see them during the day, and you don't even see them at night. All that often either, unless you're right out in the bush and you hear them. You don't see them. You hear them scrapping and screeching at night. So, has anyone had any experience with bullet mounting solutions for your vehicle? I don't know what that is.
My brother has, but I have not, and I haven't seen the fruits of his labor. So I'm looking at what they have now. And I have a Ford Expedition. And I'm not sharing my screen, so, carry on. They don't have the old ones. I have an old truck. But they have mounts for the head unit of your radio on your dashboard, as an example.
So the mount that I've got, which I was going to use for my Kenwood, is I've got is it Lido or Lido?
Lido is how I pronounce it.
Lido?
Lido.
LID mounts. So they make all sorts of different mounts for different things. Obviously, primarily we're interested in ham radio, so they have all sorts of different common mobile transceivers. And I've got the mount for the Kenwood, the 710. They've also got them for the Yaesus as well. So I'm trying to remember which one I got. This is for the mounting head. The radio mounts obviously underneath the car seat. I think I got this one. Pretty sure I got the seat bolt one. So I'm going to have that mounted up in the car, and I'm going to replace my APRS system with that. Texas ain't deep south, apparently.
Can't please everybody.
What is the best mobile HF antenna?
That's a good question.
I only operate on one HF band, and that's 10 meters. So it's a monoband antenna. So
it really depends on your definition. So we say this all the time. It depends. If your mission is to be band agile and work as many bands as you can, and not necessarily, change antennas frequently or be frequency agile or anything along those lines, the Yaesu ATAS-120 is a screwdriver style antenna. So it's a coiled vertical that will extend itself electrically to become resonant. And all of your Yaesu radios have all of your Yaesu mobile radios have the built-in screwdriver controller. So they work out very well for that. The next one up, people like the ham sticks. You get a 20-meter ham stick for the day. And then when you're done, you quick release it and put a 40-meter ham stick on for night and keep on keeping on. So, but it depends on whether you're talking about while I'm driving or just mounted to my car is another question as well.
So Diamond also have... Diamond antennas are pretty good. They have the monoband HF, I think it's the HF, and then the band X model antennas. So they're monobanders, so you'll need to swap them, obviously, as you switch from band to band. So unless you have multiple mounts. So I have the HF10X, I think it is, Diamond, but you can get them like up to 80 meters, 80 through to 10. I think you can get a 6 meter one too. But yeah, probably a screwdriver antenna, and one that automatically adjusts is good, because then you don't have to do anything. You just need to change the band.
Yep.
Ben's saying single band mobile whip. Mobile whip. 102 inch. So yeah, I need to. I had just as I said, I put that mount on the front of the front of my nudge bar on my car, and it is.
A root bar?
I'm using a rhubar, and I'm using a 6-foot skip whip. I need to get a new one though, because this one is starting to. It's been out in the. It's many years old. I got it secondhand, and the sheathing on the outside is starting to break away, and I think it's been damaged underneath as well. Water's got into it, so I need to get a new one, which I'm going to. So everyone's saying the ATAS 120. Everyone's saying the ATAS 120. When Don says for the win, you know that it is trustworthy, and he knows.
Don approved.
Don stamped Don approved. Do screwdriver antennas need a good ground plane? On HF, you need the most ground plane, the best ground plane that you can get. Most people are not going to be able to install though an HF antenna in the center of the roof, which is the best place to install a mobile antenna, because it's going to be too long. You're going to run into things. You're going to run into overhead car park, underground car parks, overhead signs. You're going to snap the antenna off one day when you're not thinking about it. So the next best is, I think HF antennas is either on maybe the front guard of the car where you can see it. It's a little bit lower, or the back trunk of the car, depending on what your vehicle is. So just the best location that you can get it. Don't mount it right down. I see some antennas, and I see some HF antennas mounted at like tow bar level. That's pretty low on the car, unless the antenna is elevated up. It's probably, for me, that would be the least likely location I would want to mount the antenna. But if it's the only, again, this is what we've been saying, it depends. If it's the only location that you've got, then mount it there. It's just not the best location. Tio?
I'm going to go right to this new question. Who's the handsomest YouTuber? I am.
You haven't officially won that title, though.
So?
It just means... actually, Paul says here about Tim G5TM has a 9-foot whip, and he mounts it on coils for lower bands. So... I mean, I don't know if he's mobile when he's doing that, though. He's usually parked stationary mobile, so he has to put it on. He can't actually drive with it because I think the antenna is too big and it'll fall off the car. But something like that on a magnetic base will work relatively well, and especially he goes down by the sea, I think, too. So works well for him, and he streams a lot on his channel. So check out Tim's channel. Yeah. Norm had a multi-tap antenna but forgot about it, drove into a parking building, and now is looking for a replacement. Oh, is that the question was? Yeah. So
right. We got one from, what kind of car do you drive? Take that one.
I drive a Subaru Forester. And I've done a video a long time ago, and I think you did one too, we had a Monday Night Ham Radio episode where we did our mobile installations, and and I showed mine, which has changed a little bit. So I need to do a upgrade to that. Colin, mobile one, that is actually where I'm going to go to get my my 10-meter antenna.
Brian says that he's trying to find a decent antenna for his motorhome. I have a collapsible mast mounted to the ladder on the rear of my mobile home that is 25 foot tall when it is fully extended. And they do make longer ones, but they get more and more expensive the higher and higher you go. So that's a good answer for when you are parked, because I wouldn't want to drive down the road with a 25 foot tall antenna. This is what I do with mine.
Cool though.
It does look cool. It does.
Yeah.
And then I remembered I put it up and had to pull over and fix it.
For the first 300 feet until it snagged an overhead bridge or something. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, we did miss this earlier. Jody, who will be the first YouTuber or team to tackle ham radio romance, and why they will succeed or fail?
Not me.
No.
My wife is not interested in ham radio, so...
No.
Out.
No. Someone asked, I saw a post on social media about this. Someone asked ChatGPT about it, and they said, I think it was like, will I get the chicks with ham radio or something? And it was like,
yes, she will.
whilst you may be successful, there may be other hobbies which may perk both of your interests.
Right.
So even ChatGPT knew, right, it's probably not the best thing to try and for ham radio romance. No, I don't think. Didn't Josh have a video of two people that got married in ham radio outlet years ago?
There are a couple of people who have done that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can find someone like that will get married in ham radio outlet with you, then all the power to you.
The prettiest the prettiest ham radio YouTuber is Hayden.
Apparently so. Boop. Ted agrees. It is you, Steve.
Thank you, Ted.
So there you go. Poor man. High SWR is wanted on the antenna itself, correct, in order to actually radiate, just not the transmission line. Trying to get my mind wrapped around theory.
The other way around.
Yeah, So SWR, I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it. Return loss is probably the better way to explain, because return loss in SWR can be calculated directly. So what you want is you want the maximum amount of power to reach the antenna and be radiated out by the antenna, right? Now, if you have a high SWR, that means that you've got some power that's coming back down into the radio because it's coming to the antenna. It's not matched correctly, so it's being reflected back. Now, so what you want to do is you want to try and maximize that power transfer. I suppose is the best way to say it. Return loss is another way of saying it. You want the most amount of power to go out, and you want the least amount to come back to you. So that is what they refer to as return loss. So yeah, you don't want high SWR on the antenna. Yeah, Don is talking about the wedding in HRO. Ham radio is a good place to pick up chicks.
You can see all of them in the chat comments right now. That'll give you an impression of how good of a hobby it is for picking up members of the opposite sex.
Well, hang on. Let's ask a quick. We've got another 8 minutes left. We'll ask the poll: does ham radio help you pick up? Yes and no. So we will see what happens. So what resurrection of your second channel? Are you talking about your retro channel, or are you talking about your RV channel?
The retro channel. The RV channel is not dead. The rumors of its demise are greatly exaggerated. The retro tech channel, I have to find a way to do retro tech mobile as well as in my schedule. I have a couple of ideas, but I need to, there's already too many live streams going on right now, and that's the only idea I have is to live stream playing with older software.
Tell Fargus, if you're going to a ham fest to find women, you're out of luck. That's probably true.
Yes.
Probably true. Yeah, it's at the moment, overwhelmingly it is no at the moment. So, but that's just the way it goes. Here we go. Jody said, sorry, I stole your comment. You can put that back up in a minute, Teo. Understanding SWO first starts with understanding the maximum power transfer theorem. Once you know your radio has a 50 ohm output impedance, a somewhat arbitrary standard, the rest can happen. That is true. It is a little bit arbitrary, isn't it? Because we've got, if you go, you've got, does anyone actually know, because I don't know the answer to this, why was 50 ohms ever selected as like a standard?
Yes.
Because you've got 75 ohm in television, you've got 75 ohm coax, and a dipole is 72 ohms when it's horizontal.
Yep.
So I'm not sure why was 50 ohms. Someone will know that. I don't know the answer to that, but
as far as I know, the answer was it was picked because they needed to pick something, and that was what they picked.
And 50 is a nice round number, I suppose. Maybe.
Why didn't they pick 100? You have to pick something. I mean, 100 would have been just as good. But they picked 50.
We'll see the difference between 50 50 to 75 and 75 to 50 is the same. So, sorry, that was the question. That was the comment that you had up from Liberty Cave about having a wedding on nuggets and car.
It was, and tax deduction for a wedding. What makes you think I didn't already do that?
That sounds like something that you would do.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of taxes.
No, we've discussed this at length, haven't we?
We have
mediums. Okay. Billy's asking us to ask ChatGPT. So, give me 10 ham radio pickup in a second. The best 10 ham radio pickup lines. And let's just zoom in so that we can see the response. Are you a QSL? Because oh dear. Are you a QSL card? Because I'd love to confirm this connection and exchange some personal information. Is your name QRZ? Because I've been calling CQ, but now I've found the station I've been looking for.
Nice.
Are you a repeater? Because every time I hear your signal, I want to transmit my love all over again.
These are awesome, Billy. Thank you.
Use these, by the way. Use these. Let us know how you get on. Is your call sign on QRZ.com? Because you've just become the hottest profile on the airwaves. If you're a Morse code, you'd be my favorite. Did-ah. Did-ah did. Did-ah did. Are you a Yagi antenna? Because my heart is pointing right at you. Are you an RF amplifier? Because you just boosted the power of my affection. Is your name 73? Because you're the perfect ending to all my conversations. Do you believe in love at first transmission, or should I call CQ again? If beauty were time, you'd be in eternity, and I'd spend all the time talking to you on the ham radio. Remember, humor is subjective, and it might not be successful. Very good. Very good, Billy.
I've taken notes.
We can never. Why would you need to take notes? You've got your lovely wife.
Hayden, the secret to success of a long and happy marriage is to continue to court your wife after you've caught her.
Is she looking at you right now with side eyes? Yeah.
No. I'm getting the big puppy dog eyes, and she's blowing me kisses.
I think that's a load of rubbish. But anyway.
Would you like to go on camera and do that again, dear? Yes, you.
It's not talking to me.
I'm gonna get yelled at. Here it comes.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? There you go. It was true. It
is true. You do have to continue to date your wife.
It is true. Well, that's just a perfect ending, I think, to the stream. We've got a few minutes left now, and it just works. So there you go.
It does. What were you going to tell me about Jim before the stream ended?
No, well, we were already talking about this. We already said that. Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, we've been talking about love in ham radio, and the thing that a lot of people don't know about Jim is the fact that when he first started doing ham radio, he